Look, sometimes there are those things that we want to do to better our lives. Okay. We were decided that we desire to move our bodies more, to eat healthier, to make sure that our job doesn't suck away our soul, to make sure that we have boundaries in our, jobs and our businesses, whatever it is. And we get on that wagon and we run with that wagon and we're really excited about it. And then we fall off the wagon and we feel really crappy about it. But we can get back on the wagon. Okay. Don't blow up the wagon. We can get back on. Let's talk about it. I get it. This is why I'm saying solidarity, we can do this. I get it. There are many, there's some wagons that I have fallen off of now, but I don't trip about it because I know that I can get back on the wagon. I have worked that muscle, and specifically when we talk about what I do, what it is, what that looks like, and even what friends that I know when we have conversations do to kind of get their mojo going, to get their to get back into moving within their desire, right? Moving in that lane. In that lane. I was having a talk with my friend. We were catching up, chatting with my friend, shout out to Samara, and we were talking about how in our businesses, we need to create boundaries, but how easy it is to fall back into default of maybe working a little, more than we want to, grinding, saying yes when we should say no, creating certain boundaries around it. Because, what we used to do, even if it wasn't serving us, is familiar, it's comfortable, it's a little cozy because we can put it on and we get it and we know it, even if it's not benefiting us, even if we need to switch it up and we need to do something different. We're like, okay, we get that. We've been here before. We've swam in these waters and we have to let it go. We have to let it go. And the thing is, these are not just goals or resolutions. I get it. A lot of times we say these things when there's new beginnings in the beginning of the year, in come January, come Monday, come the first of the month. Okay. When we feel like we get a shot at starting fresh, we say these things, but these aren't just like, these are desires that we have for our lives, our lives, our lives. These are desires that we have for our lives and how we want to live our lives. So we came, hubby and I came with the fam, with the kids to another country. We had many a conversation about like, we're just visioning what we want it to look like. Oh my gosh, we're gonna eat all these fresh fruits and vegetables. We're gonna walk every day, we're going to exercise, we're going to have movement in our bodies, we're going to be doing so much, we're just going to do these, it's going to be so great. You know what I mean? And a lot of that has happened. Okay. We are walking because we're pedestrians and we don't have a car, and that's purposeful and intentional. We don't want a car, despite, if y'all listen to, despite some of our friends out here like, you're gonna cave and get a car. We shall see. And just the fact that you said it, okay, we're on a mission. We're like, we got this. But anyway, we do walk. We walk to our local fruteria. Some of y'all seen the shorts. We go to our fruterias and we get our fruits and our vegetables, and we get our produce. We're eating the fruits and vegetables. And also, we have found ourselves eating out sometimes. And it's just a lot of fried food here. Just lots of fried food. I'm like, let's saute it, let's grill it, let's steam it. And that's not necessarily a preparation situation that I've seen readily available here. And it's like, it's more than we are used to. And yet it's comfortable to be like, I don't feel like it. Let's just grab, so and so. So I'm like, okay, we gotta get back on that wagon. Husband and I just had a conversation. It wasn't a conversation. He brought it up. He was like, look, we said we're gonna move our bodies. We're gonna get back to our routine that we was in. Let's start tomorrow morning, to be determined. But he said it and I'm like, okay, let's do it. I have many excuses that come up in my head, like, okay, but my friends are here. They're visiting for the week. They're gonna wanna, hook up. We gotta go to the bank. We gotta pay this rent. Like, where are we going to fit in this exercise time? No, woman, you have 35 minutes that you can dedicate in the morning to moving your body. No excuses or reasons disguised as excuses. But the reality is, we have a tendency, it is easy to fall back into what is familiar. And even if it's not serving us, the interesting thing is the familiar can feel comfortable just by the nature of it being familiar. And my friend was like, well, I'm not doing this. I'm creating the spaciousness. I'm going to say no where I need to say no. I'm going to make decisions that serve me in the business. That means creating certain boundaries. I don't want to get back into a certain grind and a certain groove for my own mental and physical and just all around well being. That's what we make those decisions for. That's why it comes to us, right? So the first thing to me is that we can't trivialize the things that are coming up. And we have to really look at why we're doing this thing and the deeper why of what it means for our life and our lifestyle. So if you're like, hey, I want to make sure that my partner isn't just getting the leftovers of me and we can spend some quality time together despite all the things we're doing for the kids. Why? Why do we want to do that? I'm like, I want to do that because I enjoy that time we get to check in just as two humans, two adult human beings, Imani and Ostis, and having that time and having that conversation. And I don't want to not be all there because I'm so freaking exhausted. And sometimes that means saying no to something over here so that I can do that because that's important to me and it's a priority. I want to create boundaries even in my business because I don't want to create what my friend August would say is an entrepreneur job, okay, where I'm in grind culture, I'm doing something that doesn't really light me up. Now I get, we gotta do what we gotta do. I got admin work I always have to do. That's not like super exciting. It just has to get done. But the work that I'm doing, the method that I'm doing it in, that feels good. And I can do a lot of other things that could be gimmicky. I can play the game and requires probably less patience in terms of getting certain results or certain growth patterns or seeing certain numbers that I want to see. But that's not me. And eventually, that performative nature, I've talked about this in another video, when we perform, right, is just going to suck my soul. And so, knowing what it is that feels good to me, that's important. That's getting deeper into why I'm doing this, why this is something that I desire for my life. The first things that I think that gets us back on the wagon, this at least gets you in front of the wagon when you start to tap into, okay, why is it that I want to do this thing? I'm at least in front of the wagon, okay? And then I'm gonna get back on it because I'm aware that this is something that is important to me. And then I am going to take the lowest hanging fruit, okay, from the tree. I don't have to get on my tippy toes. I don't need a ladder. I don't need a step stool, okay? I'm not looking up like, how in the heck am I going to get there? If you stand on the bottom, you look at the top of the mountain, it looks impossible. But if you've already taken a few steps, you're like, oh, I guess I'm gonna keep going. Sometimes the simple seems like a lot. Like, well, I gotta get out of this bed, get in the shower. And I'm that person that's up in the morning, but I'm not Adam. I'm like up. My toddler son is up. I'm up, but I'm not Adam yet. I'm that person. So it's like swing a leg over, then you swing another leg over, and then you sit on the edge of the bed. Then, you might put your slippers on real quick. Then you stand up, get a little stretch on. Then you, then you make your way. You're already in motion, and a task that seemed big now seems tangible and easier, and we can do it and we can get it done. So whatever the lowest hanging fruit is, what's the simplest way that I can get back into this thing? That's what I'm gonna do. Because sometimes we want to get back into it at the highest level. We want a jetpack to take us from the ground level to the peak. You want a jetpack, and it's like, but you don't have a jetpack. You can't afford the jetpack, or jetpacks just aren't available, and so you just so one step at a time, lowest hanging fruit, grab hold, and then move on from there. So I'm like, look, I might not have time to have like a couple hours with you, but I do. We make those. Okay, just an aside, we making those. It's great. But I got a few minutes. I got 15 minutes. Let's, we're here right now in this moment. We can utilize that. Like, let's cuddle up and have a little conversation before our toddler comes and jumps on us in this bed. Like, and I've talked about this and what we do in another video, but like for that example, my friend says like, no, I'm creating these boundaries for myself, right? I'm not gonna kill myself to meet this deadline that is not necessarily realistic. I'm gonna allow space for you to find patience with what it is that I'm providing, the results that I'm providing. I'm providing exactly what it is that you want. And I know what it takes to do that, but I am also not going to sacrifice my well being to get there. I have decided that that's the case. And I'm like, okay, then that's you getting back on that wagon. Because you find yourself, we talked about you find yourself, and we can find ourselves, and she's like, oh man, it's so easy to jump into our default. Like, it's so easy for me to go back into grind mode, or if it's so easy for me to just say yes when I should say, like, no, it's actually going to look like this, but I got you. That's, necessarily that's not necessarily that's not necessarily the easy part. The easy part is like just doing what we've always done. And so when we decide that we're going to do something different, like, okay, we can get back on this wagon. We're good. That's how people get back on the wagon. It's not some big thing. It's not some gate kept secret that we can't really talk about. It is literally the awareness that what it is that we want and desire for ourselves is important, and why it's important. Not just that it's important, but why is it important to us specifically? And then we can say, hey, what is the simplest thing that I can do towards this thing? Like, maybe I was doing a lot at one point. I was really killing it in the game, and then I fell off for like 7 months, and I want to get back where I was killing it in the game, and I want to start at that point. I want to start at the getting it point where I was just really getting it, but I'm not really there yet. My life is not set up that way right now. I think it was Kevin Hart. I always remember that moment where he was like, the way my bank account is set up, and you knew it was gonna come after that. Like, it just doesn't work that way. And that's your life. Where your life is set up, it might not work that way. And so, what's the simplest thing that you can do to get back on that wagon? That's how people get back on the wagon. Awareness, why that it's important, why it's important, and then what's the simplest way that we can do that to get back on that wagon and keep it moving. That's it. That's what it is. So you go and grab hold of the thing that you want for your life, whether that all the things, right? You might have to start someplace, taking one step at a time. We're not jetpacking up these mountains. I'm like, my husband said, let's move. I was like, okay, we're gonna move our bodies tomorrow, for real, for real. We're gonna do it tomorrow because we have no reason not to. I don't have to get up the crack of dawn. So my friend has set up a whole beautiful itinerary for us, and we're doing a lot of things early in the morning. Early in the morning, we're getting up and meeting up, and I'm tired. Well, if you saw my video yesterday, y'all, I'm sorry for that one. I was holding on for dear life, and I'm not sure that everything made sense. I looked back a little bit; it made a little bit of sense. I think I was in my zone. I think I pushed through really well, but child was tired. Okay, but tomorrow I got some spaciousness in my morning. We're gonna make it happen. And I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna pick up the weights. I'm gonna be, doing the most. I might not get the 30 minutes in. I might get 15 minutes in. Okay. We might do a stretch, a quick cardio. Maybe we'll do a few, lifts. Maybe we'll only do the lifts and jump some rope. I don't know. But we're gonna have movement in our bodies beyond just, walking because we gotta walk. What's the simplest way? What's the lowest hanging fruit? And that's how we're gonna roll. And I invite you to roll with me towards the things that you that you want in your life that makes sense with where, how your life is set up right now and how your lifestyle is set up. So yeah, that's all. We got this. We got this. You got this. And thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I don't take it for granted because this is more long form content. This is not like 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. I don't know. Are we up to 3 minutes on short form content now? Let me know. It might be 10 minutes. They might really have pushed it. And then I'm like, oh, that's kind of short form, long form, because this is not going to be much longer than that, this video right here. But I appreciate that your time is there. This is Imani Aisha, and I am here making videos so that we can have conversations for real about how we can have deeper, more meaningful, feel good relationships with ourselves and our partners. And within that, I'm also taking you on the journey of a family that is newly moved abroad and what that's looked like, my reflections, my insights, the lessons that I have learned in doing that. So if that sounds like your vibe, please subscribe. Let's go on this journey together. Let's do this thing. If something resonated with you from this video, let me know in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going, conversation rolling. If this is something that hits you, really just hit your spirit, go on and share it, in the group chat. Go on and share in the group chat. And of course, if you like this video, it's always helpful to me. Please give it a thumbs up. Perhaps more people will see it. I'm a baby YouTuber. Right? I'm still building. Um, and I'm still growing and I'm still learning the platform. But what I'm also definitely doing, my lowest hanging fruit in this journey, is I'm showing up. I am here, and I am here and doing my best to provide value in the lane that I can. So again, I appreciate you for listening. Thank you so much, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow.